Hello, friends! It's me, your friendly neighborhood enthusiast, who sometimes makes questionable life choices. Today, we're talking about one such choice. You know that feeling when you wake up in a warm, comfortable bed? The sheets are just right, the pillow is a cloud, and the world outside can just wait. Well, I decided to trade all of that for the exact opposite. Why? That's a fantastic question, and one I asked myself approximately every 10 minutes on this little adventure. I traded my perfectly good mattress for a lumpy sleeping bag, my morning coffee for a mouthful of thin, cold air, and my slippers for boots that felt like they were made of lead. It's called adventure, apparently. It's what you do when your brain tells you that paying money to be exhausted and slightly miserable is a form of self-improvement. The logic is truly baffling when you stop to think about it. Someone, somewhere, pitched this idea to me. Phil, they probably said, how about we go somewhere with less oxygen, colder temperatures, and a distinct lack of five-star restaurants? And for some reason, my answer was, sign me up. I must have been hungry at the time and misheard Andes as candies. We voluntarily leave our homes, our families, our favorite delis, all to walk up a very, very big hill. It's a primal human instinct, I suppose. Like the urge to see if that thing you just dropped will break. We just have to know what's at the top, even if the journey there involves a lot of heavy breathing and questioning our sanity. So here we are on September 7th, 2025, and I'm reflecting on this magnificent, ridiculous journey. So where exactly did I embark on this oxygen-deprived quest? It's a place called the Apacheta Trail. Now, you might be thinking, I'll just look that up on my phone. Good luck with that. This isn't your local neighborhood park trail where you might see a family with a golden retriever. The Apacheta Trail is one of those places that's so remote it feels like it's on the edge of the world. A secret whispered between the mountains themselves. It winds through the high Andes, giant, jagged peaks that scrape the sky. It's the kind of place where your GPS just throws its hands up and says, you're on your own, buddy. Getting there is half the adventure. Long, bumpy, slightly nauseating. You leave the beautiful, bustling cities like Cusco behind. Paved roads slowly dissolve into gravel, then dirt, then just suggestions of a path. The van we were in bounced around so much I think my fillings got a little looser. You pass tiny, isolated villages, where time seems to have slowed to a gentle crawl. The only traffic jams are caused by herds of alpacas, who look at you with an expression of mild disdain. This isn't just off the beaten path. The path is still trying to decide if it wants to exist at all. It's beautifully, intimidatingly empty. The remoteness is what makes it special, and also what makes it terrifying. There are no snack bars, no souvenir shops, and definitely no Wi-Fi. If you twist your ankle, you can't just call an Uber. The support system is your guide, your fellow hikers, and a couple of very sturdy mules who carry the heavy stuff and look far more capable than any of the humans. You are a tiny speck in a vast, silent landscape. The silence is the first thing you notice. A profound, deep quiet, broken only by the wind whistling past your ears, and the sound of your own heart pounding like a drum solo. It's a silence that makes you feel both incredibly small. Let's talk about the air up there, or more accurately, the lack of it. Hiking at high altitude is a unique experience. Imagine trying to run a marathon while breathing through a cocktail straw. That's pretty much it. Every step feels like you're carrying an invisible piano on your back. Your lungs are working overtime, but they're just not getting the same bang for their buck. The scientific term is hypoxia, but I prefer to call it instant grandpa mode. You find yourself walking at a snail's pace, taking deep, dramatic breaths, making little groaning sounds with every incline. It's very glamorous. I've never felt so athletic and so decrepit at the same time. The best part is the complete loss of appetite. Who needs a trendy diet when you can just climb a mountain? At 15,000 feet, your body is busy trying to figure out where the oxygen went, so it forgets about trivial things like hunger. Food you normally love suddenly seems unappealing. My guide offers a delicious-looking snack. My brain, yes, energy. My stomach, are you kidding me? I'm busy panicking up here. It's the only place on Earth where I, Phil Rosenthal, have ever looked at a chocolate bar and thought, maybe later. It was a deeply confusing and unnatural moment for me. Then the headaches. Oh, the glorious altitude headaches. It's not your average run-of-the-mill headache that you can solve with a couple of aspirin. This is a special high-altitude headache that feels like a tiny, angry blacksmith is living inside your skull and has decided to forge a miniature anvil. It's a dull, persistent throbbing. The gods are not amused. You drink tons of water, you chew coca leaves like the locals do. You hope the blacksmith goes on his lunch break, but you get through it. You find a rhythm, they call it the Andean shuffle. If you can ever breathe normally enough to enjoy it, that is. Just when you think you can't take another step, you look up, and that's when the Andes get you. The scenery is so ridiculously, overwhelmingly beautiful, it almost makes you forget that your lungs are staging a protest. Vast, sweeping valleys painted in 50 shades of green and brown, green, brown, cradled by mountains that are just epic. They're not cute, friendly mountains. They are jagged, imposing titans of rock and ice rock ice. Their peaks are covered in brilliant white snow that glitters in the sun, a stunning contrast against the deep blue of the high-altitude sky. It's a panorama of power and majesty. Every turn in the trail reveals a new, breathtaking vista. One moment you're walking through a field of soft, springy moss that feels like nature's carpet. And the next you're looking down at a turquoise lake so clear and still, it looks like a piece of fallen sky. Herds of vicuñas, the wild, elegant cousins of the alpaca, graze peacefully on the slopes. They're the true residents here. They move with a grace that you, the clumsy, gasping hiker, can only dream of. The scale of it all is just impossible to capture in a photograph. You feel like you've walked onto the set of a fantasy movie. The light is different up here, sharp and clear, unfiltered by the haze of cities. In the morning, the sun's first rays hit the snow-capped peaks pink gold. It's a silent, daily spectacle that makes getting out of your freezing tent completely worth it. And the sunsets, oh my. Fiery oranges, soft purples, deep indigos. The mountains become dark, powerful silhouettes against this celestial light show. It's so beautiful, it feels like a spiritual experience. This is the bargain you make with the Andes. The mountains demand your respect. They demand your effort, your sweat, and every last molecule of oxygen in your blood. But in return, they offer you this. They offer you moments of pure, unadulterated awe. And you remember, oh right, I can't breathe, but it's worth it, almost. You can't walk for more than an hour on the Apacheta Trail without being reminded that you are treading on ancient ground. This isn't just a wilderness, it's a living museum. The trail itself is part of a network of paths laid down by the Incas centuries ago. You're literally walking in the footsteps of messengers, merchants, armies from a lost empire. You see remnants of their stonework, perfectly fitted together without a drop of mortar, still standing strong against the wind and rain. It really makes you think about the people who built these paths, who lived and worked in this incredibly challenging landscape without, Gore-Tex or lightweight hiking poles. They were a different breed of tough. One of the most common and curious sights along the trail are the apachetas themselves, which give the trail its name. These are small, and sometimes not so small, piles of stones, created by travelers over centuries. Each person who passes adds a stone to the pile as an offering to the apus, the mountain spirits, asking for safe passage and strength for the journey ahead. It's a beautiful, simple tradition. Of course, my first thought was, great, another hill to climb. But this one is man-made and tiny. But then you see how many there are dotting the landscape at every high pass, and you feel the weight of all that history, all those hopes and prayers stacked one on top of the other. Our guide, a wonderful man named Mateo, whose ancestors had lived in these valleys for generations, shared stories with us as we walked. He pointed out sacred peaks, explaining that each one had its own spirit and personality. He showed us plants the Incas used for medicine, for dye, and for rituals. It wasn't just a history lesson from a book, it was a living, breathing connection to the past. He spoke of the Incas not as a long-gone civilization, but as if they had just stepped around the corner. You could feel the reverence he had for this land and the spirits that inhabit it. It made the whole experience feel richer and more meaningful. And you'd better be polite.